Carol Danvers had always felt the pull of the sky. As a child, she would stare for hours through her bedroom window at the clouds, imagining herself soaring above them, faster than the wind, beyond the constraints of the world she lived in. Her life on Earth was ordinary in appearance, a loving family, school, and friends. But beneath it all, she carried a fire that refused to be contained. Her father, a strict but caring man, admired discipline, while her mother nurtured curiosity and independence. Carol's natural brilliance and stubborn determination often led her to clash with authority, but those who truly knew her saw the spark of greatness dot as she grew. Carol's love for flight became her defining passion. The Air Force offered a path to mastery, discipline, and adventure. Her early years as a pilot were filled with rigorous training, long nights in simulators, and dangerous missions. Yet Carol thrived. Her reflexes were lightning fast, her instincts uncanny, and her courage unshakable. Fellow pilots learned quickly that to fly with Carol was to witness the future of aerial combat, a mix of skill, intuition, and sheer will, but fate had a far greater path for her than any training exercise or mission on Earth could offer. Carol's journey toward becoming Captain Marvel truly began when she encountered Dr. Wendy Lawson. Lawson was a brilliant scientist secretly working with the Kree, an advanced alien race locked in a millennia-long war with their ancient enemies, the Skrulls. Lawson had defected to Earth, seeking to complete her research in peace, but her work had enormous implications, an engine capable of harnessing energy beyond the limits of any known science. Carol, drawn by the promise of flight and innovation, became involved in Lawson's project, assisting her with the engines and tests. The fateful accident happened during one of these experimental flights. A catastrophic explosion tore through the laboratory as energy from the prototype engine erupted uncontrollably. Carol was engulfed in blinding light. Her body convulsed with energy that should have destroyed her, but instead it reshaped her very being. When the light faded, she was not the same woman who had entered the lab. Her strength, endurance, and speed were beyond human limits. She could fly faster than any plane she had ever piloted, survive blows that would cripple others, and unleash blasts of energy from her hands that could level entire buildings. Confused and frightened, Carol struggled with her new identity. The Kree, observing her transformation, saw opportunity where others might see danger. They approached her, offering guidance, structure, and a place among their elite warriors, the Starforce. They gave her the name Verse, and under their mentorship, she trained rigorously. She learned their combat techniques, mastered their technology, and even adopted some of their beliefs. The Kree were proud, disciplined, and efficient, and Carol excelled in their ranks. Yet beneath the surface of loyalty, unease grew. Flashbacks of Earth, of her childhood, her friends, and her past life surfaced in her mind. A gnawing doubt began to take root. Was she fighting for the right side? Missions that once seemed noble now carried the weight of moral ambiguity. The Kree's war with the Skrulls was painted as a righteous campaign, but cracks in the story began to appear. Carol began to notice subtle truths. The Skrulls, hunted relentlessly across the galaxy, were not merciless villains but refugees fleeing Kree oppression. Her awakening accelerated during a confrontation with a Skrull named Talos. At first, Talos seemed like any other enemy the Kree had described, deceptive, dangerous, and cunning. But as Carol faced him in combat, she discovered the truth. The Kree had lied. The Skrulls were desperate survivors, their actions dictated by the need to protect their families and find a home in a hostile galaxy. For the first time, Carol saw the consequences of blind obedience and realized that her loyalty had been manipulated. The realization tore her apart. She could no longer serve as a weapon of an empire built on fear and control. Breaking free from the Kree's hold, she returned to Earth, carrying not only her extraordinary powers but a mission of justice that transcended planetary boundaries. Earth, however, was not untouched by her cosmic battles. Returning home, she sought out old friends, piecing together the fragments of her past. Memories flooded back, the life she had known, the relationships she had cherished, and the woman she had been before becoming Verse. These memories grounded her, reminding her of the values she truly stood for: courage, empathy, and the desire to protect the innocent. Carol's powers continued to grow. Each battle pushed her further, forcing her to discover abilities she had not realized she possessed. She learned to manipulate energy with precision, to fly faster than the speed of sound, and to endure attacks from the most formidable forces in the galaxy. But more importantly, she discovered the true essence of heroism, the responsibility that came with power, the moral courage to stand for what is right, even when it defies authority. The Kree, enraged by her defection, pursued her relentlessly. Skirmishes erupted across Earth's atmosphere and the depths of space. Carol's combat prowess and energy manipulation made her a formidable opponent. She could deflect advanced weaponry, survive collisions with starships, and even resist the Kree's attempts to manipulate her mind. Yet the battles were not only physical. They tested her resolve, her judgment, and her understanding of who she had become. During one encounter, Carol was captured by Kree forces and taken aboard a massive warship. Surrounded by the soldiers she once called comrades, she was forced to confront the full scale of the Kree's ambition. They demanded her allegiance, claiming her powers were a gift meant to serve the greater good of their empire. But Carol, resolute and unyielding, refused. In a dazzling display of energy, she broke free, turning the ship into a blazing comet of destruction. The Kree were left stunned. They had underestimated not just her strength, but her will. Returning to Earth, Carol sought allies to aid her in a looming conflict that threatened both her home and the galaxy. She encountered Nick Fury, the seasoned strategist of S.H.I.E.L.D., who recognized her potential not just as a fighter but as a symbol. Through him, she learned of the interstellar threat posed by the Kree and the complex political web involving Earth, the Skrulls, and other cosmic powers. With his guidance, she embraced her identity fully as Captain Marvel, a hero whose allegiance was to truth, justice, and protection, rather than blind obedience. Her heroism would face the ultimate test when the Kree unleashed a devastating assault on Earth, seeking to reclaim their lost weapon. Cities trembled under the onslaught, and global defense forces were overwhelmed. Yet Captain Marvel did not falter. She soared above the clouds, her energy blazing like the sun itself. In battle after battle, she deflected attacks, shielded civilians, and engaged the Kree fleet head-on. Her speed and strength turned the tide of the battle, and her courage inspired those around her to rise above fear. In the midst of battle, Carol confronted her former mentor, Yonrog, the Kree commander, who had trained her. Yonrog sought to remind her of her place and the supposed superiority of the Kree. But Carol, now fully self-aware and morally anchored, stood unshaken. She channeled her energy into a decisive strike, overwhelming him not with hatred, but with purpose. The victory was not just physical, it was symbolic. She had liberated herself, Earth, and countless others from the shadows of oppression. After the battle, Carol took time to reflect. She understood that her journey was far from over. The universe was vast, filled with threats that required vigilance, courage, and wisdom. But she also knew that she could face any challenge, guided by the principles she had discovered: strength tempered with empathy, power guided by responsibility, and courage fueled by conviction. As Captain Marvel, Carol became more than a warrior. She became a protector, a beacon of hope in a universe that often teetered on the edge of chaos. She forged alliances across galaxies, defended the innocent, and confronted injustice wherever it arose. Her powers, once a source of fear and confusion, became tools of liberation. Her story spread across the stars, inspiring those who had once believed themselves powerless. Yet even as she soared among the constellations, Carol never forgot her roots. She remembered Earth, the place that had shaped her, grounded her, and given her purpose. She carried its values into every corner of the cosmos: resilience, compassion, and the belief that even in the darkest times, heroes could rise. Captain Marvel's legend was not born from conquest or glory. It was born from choice, the decision to stand for what is right, to protect those who cannot protect themselves, and to rise above fear and oppression. In every battle, she proved that heroism was not about the magnitude of one's power, but the courage of one's heart. And so, among the infinite stars, Carol Danvers blazed. Not as Verse, the Kree soldier, nor merely as a pilot from Earth, but as Captain Marvel, a guardian of the universe, a symbol of hope, and a testament to the power of courage and conviction. Wherever darkness loomed, she would rise, her energy cutting through the void, a reminder that no matter how vast the universe, light, justice, and heroism could always prevail. In the end, the girl who had once dreamed of flight had become a hero beyond imagining. Her journey from Earth to the stars, from confusion to clarity, from obedience to moral freedom was complete. Yet it was also just the beginning, for the cosmos was boundless and Captain